Greetings, good people. Now, in this video, the network is going to be dropping because we're dealing with cowards. But we are here to put the final nail to Zanu PF coffin. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, 45 years after independence, after the betrayal of somebody who actually fought in the liberation struggle. Yes, I'm talking about Josiah Tongogara, who is jailed in 1975, only to be released to be murdered 7 days after the signing of the Lancaster House Agreement. We see Nyaya introduced in the 1940s in Zimbabwe. Nyaya is both a philosophical and religious. Its ultimate concern is to bring end to human suffering, which results from ignorance of reality. Liberation is brought about through right knowledge. Nyaya is thus concerned with the means of right knowledge. Not manyaya atakunyeperwa ne this minority rule, this constitutional order, which can't even follow a constitution through its amendment after amendment to remain in power to where we are right now. 45 years. Now you're talking about 2030. A constitution made during the GNU, Namogen Changirai. What would be the purpose for that constitution if it's to be amended? We as a Zimbabwean people, we are actually ignorant. Constitution is not there to be granting you your liberties, your right to life, your freedom to own property, your freedom of creation, freedom of conscience, to create your own property. We as Zimbabweans, we are a people with hands. Now, in this illegal disorder, we have criminals who think they can control how you work or how you earn. When you are a native, working in your own country, at your own house, in your own field, somebody just feels entitled. Maybe in your own land there is gold. Somebody just feels entitled. That is where we are going. That is where we are right now. If we are to compare the cabinet of Rhodesia to the cabinet of this illusion of a nation, this illusion of a state, we see from 1970 to 1975, President 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has had 6 presidents. Rhodesia. One would go from 1970 to 1975, another one 1975 to 1976, 76 to 78, 78 to 79 to 79. Another one, Prime Minister Ian Smith, 1965 to 1979, 66 to 76. David Smith, 76 to Deputy Prime Minister. These are only from 1965. If we go back from the days of Garfield Todd, we see it's the same. One term, one term, one term. We have ministers. What ministries do we have? Do we have necessary ministries? Yes, we do have necessary ministries. But right now, in the Zimbabwe, the so-called new Zimbabwe, the only ministries that we have are ministries to create gaps for relatives, This is not a democratic government. Maybe a demo, as in software demo, or chidemo chefoni chisingashandi, where we see those who are supposed to be putting checks and balances are the actual oppressor, who think ruling is creating rulers. Yet, a ruler is that same ruler. Yet no chance to measure 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter. You don't create your own ruler for you to be called a ruler. Now, why would they be doing this, guys? These guys. Why would they be doing this? So here, we are covering the real history that cannot be distorted. And we will not take it from any source of these spin doctors. An actual propaganda did to change the history by Nyaya. If you come to today, 2025, where we are right now, we go to newspaper. This print media is no longer mainstream media. Now these ZANPF guys think they can control WhatsApp. Yeah, Zuckerberg is ZImbabwe. Are you paying Zuckerberg tax? Are you paying him royalties? These are the headlines in today's Herald. These are not headlines. These are announcements and promises. This is the campaign paper. There isn't actual news. There isn't actual reporting or journalism, journaling. There isn't even actual literal art as in actual storytelling. President Mnangagwa arrives in Eswatini. Minister Mona led tour of Charles Prince Airport ahead of major upgrade. Mutare Unite kuti itaire digitalization of public services, NDS2 aspirations, still dreaming of DG digitalization. Tangan ne watch ye kwat 4 digits. You have to go for 100 yeah. Do digitalization. Do I think TV that digitalization? It's not even digital. Strategic alliances to advance technology, education and healthcare. And do we see here? Mnangagwa, Deputy Minister of Finance, nothing is fine. The nation is not in good health. The actual individual peoples who make up the nation, they are not in any wealth or in any physical body health. Yes, the same disorder we see happening in 2005, Manicaland finally push touches for Shanghai. After 45 years after independence, British South Africa come and BSAC comes in less than 5 years. They have already built first street. Saka Josiah Tongogara izvozvo. All right, fellow Zimbabweans, we continue. We continue. Some fools are connecting to my machine using shell. A basic nothing. Okay. So we continue. So bear with me as I reopen my script. Don't worry, I am very fast. Under whatever fool who think they can disturb me or whatever nonsense. We continue with this. We continue with this. In the meantime, as I do that, let us reflect here.
By July 2005, following the United Nations damning report on the humanitarian crisis in Zimbabwe, all those in informal settlements and so-called illegal structures were burnt out, demolished, and moved on. Some were simply dumped in the bush. Other outside. Government promised new houses for all the displaced, and a few were built. But in Harare, thousands were herded into a new camp, Hopely Farm, where conditions were at best squalid. What has happened to the victims of Operation Murambatsvina in the year since what the people called the tsunami and the...
Now this is 2025. A person anozozvarwa kuHopely
when
is now 20 years old.
comrade
A person is now 20 years old. A person born after the demolitions of this criminal, cruel, illegal, illegitimate Zanu PF regime. There is no story to accept. Fellow Zimbabweans, we stop recognizing this nyaya chete and build a few local attractions. Gone are the days atainakirwa nekukwira ma-elevator nema-escalator. Gone are the days atainakirwa nekubva kumusha tosvikonu naHarare. All right, the network is back. Panzapa, continue loitering. You, whatever you are, continue loitering. This is the sea. What are you? Are you worms in the sea? I am not fish. So now all the wailing and yelling, what are you fighting against? You are fighting against this. You continue, we continue. Those who perished in the liberation struggle, their blood is crying. Their blood is crying. Zimbabwe is in a state of ruin. Hence, Zimbabwe ruins. Hence, Zimbabwe ruins. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not here for that. This is happening in the year 2005.
United Nations called a meltdown. Operation Murambatsvina has left many without access to basic health care. This man was bitten by a snake as he tried to construct a shelter from the rubble. His decomposing body was found several days later. The people at Hatcliffe Extension, burnt out and ordered to leave, were later given permission to return to nothing.
saka zvakangodaro gore rakapera ndopakazotanga nyaya dzekunzi vanhu vaakuda kupadzirwa pozarwa yatinoti tsunami. Saka tsunami yakarova munhu wese, yakapwanya chero zvawakanga uinazvo semarata. Munoona iwaya anga atori marata ayo padzimba iwaya, zvava zvekutongobvutiranawo kuzvimwe zvichitsva, kuzvimwe zvipwanyiwa, zvimwe zvichiti kuti uzongowana chaunosara nacho.
Bear with me, guys. As we continue, I'm reconnecting to the internet. I'm using different strings, one for streaming and another one.
Vatazobva maindo vatazoparadzwayo.
Tangouya masoja pano apa zvinonzwisa sisi, and
this is the part of Chimurenga we witness. The third Chimurenga, fourth Chimurenga, to the seventh Chimurenga where we are right now. This is TV7, where we announce, not ZBC, any other Z or any other jet.
upenyu wakadaro hauiti. Achinji pusa chitangwena chako machisya ubatize moto. Zikaitika saizvozvo jepa ndakabatwa neBP, gumbo iri neruoko rakastoka. Site.
Why do this Zanu PF mafia continue to be doing this? It is their strategy. We see China fights for their liberation struggle up to 1975 using Mao Zedong's People's War strategy. In 1975, Ian Smith agrees majority rule. But for 5 years up until 1980, these guys, they are struggling. Who's going to lead? The people want Supreme General Tongogara, who is in prison. It's before Mugabe comes into the picture. Anybody who says they fought post 1975, you may have fought maybe in the Cold War from 1975 to 1980. We will look into the Mao People's War, the military tactic, the mass line, what it means, the logistics or the logos, ethos, pathos, logos, the perception of the people, what it means, the link with the revolutionary movements in Vietnam, Cuba, and Peru. The Chinese Civil War was a success. We attained independence the same time. But Zimbabwe is hijacked. The independence is hijacked. What is the role of ZANU-PF in the liberation struggle? Don't worry, ZANU-PF guys. You are not going to be creating new information. Let's go to the Supreme General and listen to him in his own words.
What some of us are fighting for is to see that this oppressive system is crushed. We don't care whether, I don't even care whether I will be part of the top echelon in the room.
Like this is Josiah Tongogara himself. Yes, a fighter in the guerrilla struggle. The Matabele War, the now called Chimurenga War, after the success of Thomas Mafumo's Chimurenga music.
I'm not worried, but I'm dying to see a change that, in the system. That's all. That's all. I would like to see the young people enjoying together, black, white, enjoying together in a new Zimbabwe. That's all. Look, we have clothes, food, everything is coming from those progressive organizations in Britain and in America and in Sweden and all over the world. This shoe, I never bought it. Zanu never bought it, never paid a penny out of it. This is, I think, from Sweden. If I didn't have it, how would I walk? Would I fight? I wouldn't fight. So the man who is fighting in Zimbabwe more than a Zimbabwean is the one who contributed to this shoe. I'm able to plan because I'm putting on a jacket and on a trousers. And who is giving me this? The people in Britain, the people in America.
But what about the whites inside?
Coming from Garfield Todd, 1953. Garfield Todd, who started the Dire Mission, where we see a lot of leaders in Zimbabwe are educated, including Robert Mugabe. That's where we see the introduction of the Nyaya philosophy, which is an Indian philosophy. Not Indian from India. I don't know how Indian is India. But from New Zealand. Remember, Native Americans are Indian in the United States. From New Zealand. Supreme General Tongogara embodies Nyaya ideals, not Mao philosophy or Marxist. Those who say Maoist or Marxist, they are very confused because Mao Zedong is taking from Karl Marx, who authored stages of economic development before there is even capitalism. Now, it's capitalism and many other schisms. Nyaya ideals. Tongogara is the leader of Daire Chimurenga. Chimurenga, meaning kumuka kwepfungwa, changing of the mind, meaning revolution. Chimurenga, kuona zvinhu sezvazviri kubva musuperstition yeuroyi Shona witchcraft, which led to the murder of Tongogara. Even when Mugabe dies, there is a story with his body ya woman. Kumadi kutora body, mabody emamotikari, maita assembly plant, enochukwa nema ex-jap, kuma mota kuma $15, totekes kuma 4,000 munomu. Like $15. Wozoro wane shipping, whatever mari, you bear double one duty. We don't even have our own ports which we control. When we had the lie of not Karigamombe Fund, Mutaba Fund, it's not gonna send Zimbabwean entrepreneurs, we will be starting our own private pools of funds, our own secret societies. This government, they have nothing to lose, everything to gain. Tongogara was about kubatana. Unu, undu. Being a divine being. Shandisa pfungwa and rusununguko. His death is a hole in Zimbabwe's soul. It is a hole in Zimbabwe's soul. Mutemo, which Tongogara was talking about, was not Matemo. And zvakanaka, in terms of nyaya, kuzeya nyaya, zvakanaka. Kuzeya nyaya, zvakanaka. Nekuti nyaya, tinoshandisa ilogos. Inonzi nemakristu, the word of God. Logos rema. Or logic in Latin. The same logic we use in maths, the same logic now working in quantum physics or programming. Zanu, Bill Gates, and all the other guys who are just selling my consoles and my video game and my drive kit. Kudara we use my cartridge. Kuchine my dot matrix printer. Now the world is a global village. We can't continue to be imprisoned. Some fools thinking they own anybody. You are a fool. Illegitimate. Just incredible. No credibility. Your war, the stories you tell, make no logic. It is betrayal. From the betrayal, since the Geneva Conference in 1976, all along, Josiah Tongogara is in prison. His ideals of integrity, communal responsibility, humanness, humanity, kwete chamunoti chivanhu, abusing our mbira and our biras and our traditions. Anana mande dzaiva nzvimbo dzei dzekudzidzisa kurima dzimwe agriculture, not this ugly no culture. Mushandira pamwe, cooperation. It's under nyaya philosophy. Chivanhu, nyaya philosophy. Saka unoita chivanhu chei chekuti kana wanakirwa netobhako yemumhunomu wofunga kuti wamagaiva, wofunga kuti waBruce Lee, wofunga kuti waVan Damme, ungori demon in this democratic nonsense. This is the many-headed beast. We see Jesus when he moves into Jerusalem. I didn't come to abolish the laws of Moses. I came to fulfill. Umambo wangu hausiwe pasi. And he says the kingdom is at hand. You can access it. What is he talking about? The simple education that these educators and the team have failed. To show my coach what makabata kuna Mugabe. It's a downward spiral. No rituals can save you from this one. No guns or barrels or bombs can save you from this one. Ndilipana papa 15 Baribango Street zengeza wali chitungwiza. Don't even think you can stop me. Don't even think I need a passport to leave this country.
Rhodesia, have you done anything to give them any confidence in Zanu or in their own futures come to that?
You know, this is the problem which is really facing us at the moment. And we have always appealed to all our friends, all our allies who would like to see this armed struggle succeed, to really transmit the message to those people inside the country, whites. They must understand what we are fighting for.
Transmit the message. Transmit the message. The will of Josiah Tongogara lives on.
What we stand for.
But it's what the guerrillas stand for that frightens the whites quite as much as the fear of being killed. They feel their prosperity is threatened by a doctrinaire Marxist dictatorship.
What would things be like in terms of ownership of cars, of all the other sophisticated bits of equipment that many Rhodesians, black and white, already do have? Or are they going to all be part of this collective enterprise?
Now, what you are trying to say to me, or what you're trying to suggest to me, what has been suggested to us over and over again, is that this idea of socialism will be. In other words, we are being persuaded to get stuck with capitalism. Now, is it not common sense that when we fight to liberate the country and want to introduce a new system, we should look for resisting?
Is it not common sense that this shitty system is just shitty only and has failed to be anything?
Which is different from capitalism.
There is an expression in England, don't throw the baby out with the...
There isn't even any capitalism. Rhodesia is a free enterprise like Switzerland, Sweden.
bathwater. And I wonder if you look around Europe or Africa, whether you really believe that it's the socialist countries that are more efficient and happier.
I'm absolutely convinced that I would be happier in a socialist country.
How can you be certain that whatever government you set up won't eventually become oppressive, won't be the sort of society where people are frightened of speaking out, frightened of doing anything without looking over their shoulder?
We do not want to create a socio-legal order in the country in which people are petrified, in which people go to bed having barricaded their doors and their windows because someone belonging to the special branch of the police will break into their houses. This is what we've been fighting against. Every one of us has been in jail 10 years, 14 years. I myself 9 without trial. Every one of us has had to leave scared of the police. How on earth could we create a society which is exactly like that? We don't want it. We are fed up of it. And this is why we are in this revolution for as long as is necessary to abolish this system.
Now, from the so-called Manicaland uprising, we seeing tribalists and idiots who are not citizens continuing the divide and rule. What is Ndebele? Here. There is nothing like Ndebele. It's like going to Europe and saying what? The Anglo-Saxons and the Indo-Europeans. Here, the Bantu and the Nguni. It's one people. Okay, we are not one people. Why are we looking for foreign investors? So we don't want foreigners. Even the meaning of the word foreigner has lost its exotic feel. Hence, why we are a xenophobic people. We are afraid of foreigners, of anything that is external. Are Rhodesians foreigners? They are not even from Britain. They are inviting investors, actually. We see adverts during the days, the British South Africa comes here. There is just a guidebook to settling. Why are they coming here? It's a beautiful land, beautiful climate, beautiful everything. Yet that which we expect, or that which would see Josiah Tongogara betrayed before the realization of his will. Mutemo, justice. Justice doesn't mean creating your own standards. Kuti Zusu, we are Standardization Association of Zimbabwe. ISO whatever. Yatinoshandisa chenda neye kuti ndiye zvechi in this matrix. Kusvika ku IEEE. Yatakushandisa ku electrical equipment nema video formats nema radio waves. We see Tongogara here. That's a radio. There. Coming from Second Road, yatinobata iri mutown umu. Ndo maitengeswa maroad kom. Radio. The same time we see the invention of the radio. Kuma 1940. Pa World War II nema television. Radio something. When we still had record bars. Before we take jukebox and make them streaming. Before the days of Yahoo's music match. Jukebox. Right now Bob Marley is dead. His music is still making money. And his country from where he comes from, they get their share of royalties. Right now everybody is using Steve Jobs iPhones, iTunes, iPad, leading to now where we have MP3. All those tags, not my tags are panzeve yemombe in the yangu, tags, the actual tags, not tags yenye chidofwe, value added tags. Ula kusama kapu yechi, ulimbafa. And you claim to be running an economy, maybe your own economy. Nyaya philosophy, mutemo justice. We see Tongogara is arrested. Who is the Judas? Uno, humanness, dignity, compassion, respect for others. Kubatana, unity. There is no unity, there is no peace, which means joy. Not rest in peace, peace kunyala. I can't have peace of mind here, in so-called my own country. We will not betray Tongogara. Jakanaka, goodness. Jakanaka, ambition. Jakanaka, accomplish. Zino zabarkwane Zanu PF. Jakanaka. Mushandira pamwe, cooperation, collective effort. Chiwanu, collective strength. Different from Unu, humanness. Esnes Chiwanu, Chikudo, Makudo. Ni mapere mbuti up and down, dead bodies in animism in their year's house, thinking you can get into heaven through habeas corpus. This scopus in which we are in right now, this material world which we are not here in this material world. This is matter, not a Christian who is killed for their belief. They are also a Christian matter. Those are all pathos to this reality, which is just but a nonsense. Actual nonsense. The gorillas now presenting to Lancaster House, they have to be a united force. We see Mugabe negotiating for Tongogara's release. Before his demise, Mugabe says, we must undo this just injustice, meaning removing Zanu PF. And we start from 1979. We start 1979. Who is who? Who is what? If we were fighting for a land that was taken, it goes back to the owners. Should the owners see it economically and any other viable for them to be incorporating others It is up to them. Ungafe nenzara. Pamusha pako paine goridhe. Paine vane leba yekurichera nekunoritengesa. Paine vane mishini yachona yekurichera. Kukana vanhu vachona ivavo vari maChinese. Kukana vari maAfrican. To every Zimbabwean, kana uine land yaunonyeperwa negaiziri rematitles chete no deeds, kuti uda kupa matitle deeds, kugara neland unoona ichaza kubhadhara kana vazukuru vako, kana kuti ichangoramba ichitorwa. Neivavava vanatotorwa chete. Mao philosophy, good philosophy, we should follow that one. Mao philosophy is coming at a time where people are not yet open. They are not civilized. If you are not civilized, you can only be evil. You cannot be civil and evil at the same time. Right now in Zimbabwe, there is poverty mentality, herd morality, a dehumanized people. Because to be humane is to be a god. One of the prophets, Jesus, what does he say? Even the birds, they are not worried. You think your mind is that gray matter which you call your brain. The mind is one. The soul is one. Each individual human being, we are all part of humanity. Just as the red blood cells in your blood are living organisms, time is up. For these looters, how do they keep surviving? They create chaos so that they can look as if they are the saviors. You can only do that for a century, 100 years. Now, begin making other retirement plans, and Zimbabwe moves in the struggle of a real revolution, a change of the mindset, the real Chimurenga. I'm going to sign out right about now, 9:01. I'll be back again